Well, joining us now for a look at the impact the tariffs could have on Canadian business and our economy is EY's National Economics Leader, Mauricio Zelaya. Mauricio, really appreciate you joining us here. I'm sure you're very busy at Ernst & Young these days with all of your clients and this unprecedented nature of the tariffs here. I wonder if we could start by just sort of covering, like, what are you hearing from your clients in terms of their level of concern about these tariffs?
Yeah, and the level of preparedness the maturity is not quite there. I mean, some are quite sophisticated. We're quite happy to help them, but others, they've never seen a tariff. They don't even understand what that is. So we start almost at the basics. And the playbook that we're using for them is first starting at the macro level. Well, what is it the Canadian economy was looking at? How is it intertwined with the U.S.? And more globally, where we've been seeing some shifts. And then we get into the micro aspects, so the nuts and bolts of their businesses, and really try to understand three fundamental things. One is around which products will be impacted, which we have seen now that it's across the board. Two, the size of those impacts, which can trigger different response functions. And then lastly, how long these tariffs will come into play. Now, on the latter half, when it comes to how long this will stay for, there are some sectors that will be disproportionately impacted. So I think we're all talking about the automotive sector right now, that it's anticipated to shut down within 4 to 5 days. And that's very tricky because we have seen several studies showcase that certain automotive parts can cross the border about 6 to 8 times before it reaches its final destination. So very tricky times right now.
It really is. Would you suggest that your clients are they scared? Are they concerned? Because, I mean, like with the auto sector, I mean, Flavio Volpe was sitting right there where you were yesterday saying, we're looking at 100,000 layoffs. People may have to lay off, some employees, these different levels of concerns with their business. How would you sort of clarify what their sort of feelings are right now?
Yeah, so they're actually moving quite quickly on this. The big thing that we have been telling our clients is hope is not a strategy, that you have to be quite proactive in this sense. And we are helping them just understand what that can look like for them and more so prepare in the future. You can't move your production facility. You can't onshore facilities overnight. This takes years. We've been highly integrated with the U.S. for such a long time. It's going to create some issues in the short run, but we do anticipate that we can come out stronger on this.
I wonder, Mauricio, we were last night sort of mulling this over as a team, and we were thinking maybe the threat of the tariffs were worse than the actual tariffs being implemented because the threat is the unknown. Now we know. How does that change the dynamic now that we know officially they're here as of midnight?
Yeah, and that's still tricky because while we do know that they're in place now, we don't know how long and that how it'll change. So we have heard from the Trump administration that they are looking for investigations around lumber, around pharmaceuticals, around life sciences products, and then more broadly looking to actually remove the de minimis act, which is really just an exemption of products that come under the $800 limit that for the moment are exempted from tariffs and now putting in place. So this is going to have a large impact on e-commerce based businesses. So while we have some level of certainty now, it's still very uncertain times. The Trump administration has been described as both chaotic and unpredictable, and this is really on point for them.
I'm not sure if this goes outside your area of expertise, but when Donald Trump renegotiated and Canada renegotiated free trade along with Mexico in his first term, he said this was the best deal ever signed. It seemed to be a good deal for everyone. Does any of what he's doing now appear to violate that deal? Or like some people are suggesting this sort of there's no justification for this.
Exactly, and that's what we don't understand the underlying motives behind this. And to be frank, I don't know what economic realities we're seeing in which there is a benefit to the U.S. economy on this, but perhaps it is a negotiating tactic to perhaps renegotiate that a little bit earlier than anticipated. But it is a great question. We're just not sure at this point.
Have you ever seen or experienced a period like this in sort of Canadian-U.S. business and economic relations?
No, we haven't. And this is very unprecedented times. And we are working very closely with our U.S. colleagues as well and our global colleagues because this is a very interconnected based question. We have seen that there has been this emergence of nationalistic and deglobalization policies, which is really just driven to mitigate any global interdependencies that economies have. So even in Canada, we are seeing that. It just means that for the U.S. to do this, it's going to be amplified. I mean, they are a large economy, and for them to proceed with this is just in a very unorthodox approach how they're doing so.
Okay, we're going to continue to watch the space. Mauricio, we appreciate your insight and analysis from Ernst & Young this morning. Thanks so much for being here.
I appreciate it.
Thank you very
much. Thank you so much for having me.